Alright, so hopefully you can hear this pretty good. How to adjust the emergency brake, which is right there in the screen, on any Highlander, should be any Highlander from 2014 to 2019. What we're going to do is we're going to remove, they say the lower control panel, oftentimes you'll see this whole section, they say needs to be removed. Well, no, it doesn't. All you need to do is remove that screw, and then there's another couple of screws on this black piece that you can see. And once you do that, then you'll get, if you can see it through this hole, that little bolt head, which you should be able to see, and we'll get to that in just a minute. 2 screws, one there, one right there, and then you'll push that clip, and then this whole piece drops down. You don't need to disconnect anything because all you're trying to get to is that, you can see it on the video, that bolt where the light is shining, or nut rather, there's a lock nut, and then the nut that you adjust so that you get 8 to 11 clicks when you push on this. Why are we doing this? Because when you do your rear brakes, you adjust them to where there's just a little bit of friction, and then you back off the star wheel to where it turns freely. But what happens, since it's a new rotor, it's a little bit different than the one that was on there, so you need to adjust this so it works properly, and so you pass inspection. It's a little difficult to shine a light up in there, but it's 10mm nut, and on the back of it is a 10mm nut. So you have to hold the one with like an open end wrench, much like that. And then I used a 10mm socket, the deep well socket on an extension, and it breaks fairly quickly, and then you can finger loosen that nut, and then you can use this open end wrench and make your adjustment to tighten up the cable so that you get the adjustment on your foot pedal to where it needs to be. So what I did, I pulled the lock nut off, so you can see, or should be able to see if I can get it on here, that shaft. So then I can just put my extension on that nut and adjust it where I need to, and then worry about tightening it up and locking it down with the lock nut after I'm done making the adjustment. Only because for me, up in there, it's very difficult to balance your wrench, and you only get to move it about 1/4 of a turn at a time, which is tedious. How many turns of the wrench? I did probably about 5 full turns of that adjustment nut, and that put my pedal within that 8 to 11 range. When you start pushing on the pedal, there's free play. Let's see if I can do this here. So there's free play when I push it down, and then you start getting into the clicks. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I get 8, and it's supposed to be between 8 and 11. Gives you the adjustment that you need, and then you'll just spin that lock nut back on. You will need to use your open end wrench to hold that adjusting nut while you lock down your lock nut with the socket. Putting this plate back in your lower, guess you'd call your lower panel, there's a piece right here, well, get on Fisher, on the very end, and then in the back you'll see that white hole. So you'll line up this protrusion in that hole, and then everything else, this little piece will snap back up into place, this will snap back up into place, and then you'll have that screw to put back in, that, you find it, oh, there you go, that screw to put back in, and then you're done. It's, 20-30 minute job probably at the most. Should be easy. Hey, I thought of an addendum to the adjustment process for this e-brake, which you're looking at right now. So once you get all this done and you do all the appropriate turns and it goes 8 to 11 clicks, is it really adjusted properly? Well, let's find out. So I'm going to go ahead and push this. So I did all the clicks, right? All right, it's pushed. Now I'm going to put my foot on the brake because the car's already running. I'm going to put it in drive. You might have heard that. I'll take my foot off the brake, and just so you know, I'm looking down an empty stretch of road just in case it's not working. We don't want to jump out and whack into a garage wall or anything like that. So, take my foot off the brake. Car doesn't move. Gonna watch the tachometer. I'm gonna rev it up a little bit. Gonna watch the tachometer because the car is in drive. My emergency brake is on. I'm gonna rev it up a little bit. And you can see I'm not going down the road anywhere. Yay! Take my foot back off the gas, put it back on the brake, shift it back into park, then I can take my foot off the brake, and if you want to, you can turn your car off. I'm gonna take the emergency brake off because I have places to go, but that's how you would test to make sure that you did your adjustments correctly. And if the car begins to roll forward a little bit and you've got it mashed all the way down, just go back, take the emergency brake off, another turn or two on the adjustment nut on your emergency brake pedal, and then just go through that process until when you have it in drive and the emergency brake on and you give it some gas, it stays in place, then you know it's adjusted properly. So, hope that helps. All right, bye.